Good afternoon. This is Tuesday, June 19, 2018. This is the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners. I'd like to start by doing introductions. First off, I'm chair of the board this year. I'm Commissioner Bud Blake, and to my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Commissioner John Hutchings. To his right is Labadina Bomar, clerk of the board. To her right is the County Manager, Romero Chavez. With that in mind, I'll ask Commissioner Hutchings to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. And in turn, I'm going to ask you a longtime friend of mine, Olympia Fire Chief Greg Wright, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Chief.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chief. Next, we have the approval of the Tuesday, June 19, 2018 agenda.
Yep, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Tuesday, June 19, 2018 agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries. And is there a motion for the board meeting minutes for June 12th?
Move to approve the board meeting minutes from June 12, 2018. Didn't mean to rush you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes for June 12, 2018. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries as well. Well, we do have one presentation, and it's absolutely phenomenal that this person is leaving and going on to a great life, but has done phenomenal amount of work here in the community, and that is Mr. Don Bowman. We have Kurt Harding here as Director of Emergency Management Services to give us a background overview, and then we'll be able to say our praise and thanks to Mr. Bowman.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon. We're here right now to honor Paramedic Lieutenant Don Bowman for his 40 years of service as a paramedic in Thurston County. He is the longest serving paramedic in Medic One history here in the county. I'm joined here by Lacey Fire District 3 Chief Steve Brooks, Fire Commissioner Frank Kirkbride, and also Paramedic Lieutenant Russ Lutz from Lacey Fire District 3. Today is Don's last day. He officially retires on June 19th. He was smart enough when he drove over here to have somebody else drive him just to make sure that there wasn't any issues in case there was a slight fender bender on the way over. He doesn't want anything entangling his exit strategy out of here. Don began his path in emergency medicine after joining the Army in 1974. A lot of good things have come out of the Army, right, Commissioner Edwards?
That's right.
He completed corpsman training at Fort Sam Houston and then completed EMT training just up the road here at Madigan Army Medical Center. Don completed his paramedic training and certification at Tacoma Community College in 1977, and he joined Lacey Fire District 3 on July 17, 1978. We estimate that Don has seen over 15,000 patients during his 40 years here. When you think about that, that's a lot. And I will tell you that Don's experience and his bedside manner, his patient interaction and communication has calmed many a patient down when he's had to cross over their front door into their living room. Don is a huge proponent of giving back to the community as well. He's been instrumental in launching Lacey Fire District 3's Santamobile in 1981, and has been involved in the Santamobile ever since that time. He consistently volunteers for community events. And by the way, Don, I have an emergency management volunteer application waiting for you for tomorrow to fill out. Don's enthusiasm as a volunteer matches his enthusiasm as a paramedic. At the July EMS Council meeting, Don is going to be nominated for the EMS Medic One Lifetime Achievement Award. And I will tell you that I will turn this over now to Commissioner Frank Kirkbride to have a few words as well, and then Chief Brooks after that.
Thank you, Kurt. Commissioners, Thurston County is really blessed to have some of, if not the best, firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics. Our Medic One system is second to none, and we see that all the time in the statistics of the saves and the people that we help. People like Don are the key to the success of our system. Us politicians are not the key. The guy that crosses that threshold to help the people that in need, like Don, are the people that make the system work. Don is, he and his fellow men and women in the fire service, I guess, have a DNA in them that only knows service, only knows to help. And it's interesting to even see them in an environment like right now, where he's not on duty, he's retired, that if something happened in this room right now, these people would jump to help without hesitation. And that's the kind of people they are. And I'm proud as chairman of the board of fire commissioners for AC3 to have known Don for 18 years and know his colleagues will continue the legacy that he's brought with us. Chief Brooks?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. And again, thank you for this opportunity to come and to share this time with Don. And I just want to say, as a fire chief, if cloning were an option, this would be the day for it, because we are so sad. We're happy for Don that retirement is impending, but also sad to see him go, because I can tell you as his employer, his work ethic, the attitude with which he has come to shift now consistently every day for 40 years is exemplary. Just a couple of quick anecdotes. You've heard a lot about the medicine that he delivers, and that is certainly the most important part, but the intangibles, the day-to-day things that happen within the station that we could not do without. He's well known by his chief officers for bumping into him in the hall at 11 o'clock or close to midnight, still rolling supplies over to the EMS room because he realized those didn't get put up for the day. One particular story that I like, and we have a good photo of that he might see later in the day today, is I believe it was either last year or year before. You've already heard his intricate participation in our Santa Mobile program, and I believe it was last winter. We realized that after our Santa Mobile had gone out on one of its 12 or 13 nights in the community that we had missed a neighborhood. And there were some pretty upset children and families that were posting on social media, "Where's Santa? We missed him." And Santa and the Santa Mobile had already made it back to the station. It was getting late, and Don was actually on Medic 3 that night, and he said, "No problem." Put on his bunker gear and in sub-30-degree weather climbed back on the antique convertible fire truck and drove back the 15 miles and went right through that neighborhood with Santa to make sure that group of children were not left out for Christmas. So that's just some small examples of the ways he has served consistently day to day over these last 40 years, and we've been honored to have him. So thank you. Don, the last word is yours.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Hello, Don.
Thank you for inviting me here today. It's been a long, long journey. It went by really, really fast. I'm really going to miss my job. On behalf of the department and all the medics that I work with, we thank you very much for the support you've given us over the years to keep the Medic One system rolling the way it has. I'm going to miss it a lot, and at this point, I don't have much more to say except thank you. Thank you very much for everything you've done.
You bet. Thank you. Stay right, hold up right there, sir. We're going to. You don't get away with questions and answers. We'll start with Commissioner Hutchins. Commissioner Edwards first.
You know, Don, I have to say, Frank kind of disparaging to us elected officials there a little bit, but I have to say I had the opportunity of working with Don as a line officer. He was a line officer, I was a line officer way back when. And I mean, I've known all about Don all these years, and things never did change. I don't think that enthusiasm ever went away, and the public was so much better served because of officers like Don, and I just want to personally thank you very much for your service, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'd just like to add that though we haven't really worked together, that with 40 years in service as a hero, I clearly, with great humility, I stand in your shadow. And I thank you for your dedication and professionalism for 40 years, and man, you can rock that mustache. That is beautiful. Beautiful.
I just trimmed it.
It'll come back.
It was
Thank
a
you,
lot
Don.
longer than this. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add to some of this, sir. Unfortunately, I had not had a chance to work with you. I'm still new to the block in some ways, but I can tell by just what you've impacted and made lives happen for the better and thriving. 15,000 people. I know that is just mere 15,000, but it's not. It's the 2 per family, and it's now 30, 40,000 that you've impacted, and the friends and neighbors of that 15,000 that you've touched their lives in some way. And to me, that is absolutely phenomenal in terms of setting the example for those to follow and a role model and what we absolutely aspire to be in terms of leaders, whatever level we are. So it's not just as far as a paramedic. You've done wonderful in helping families prosper, and we graciously thank you for your time and service. So thank you.
Thank you
You
very
bet.
much. I appreciate it.
Now we're going to read something to you. He's going to read a
Oh,
plaque.
okay.
And we're going to take a photo.
And remember, Gary and I failed at retirement once.
Me too, yeah.
Wish you success.
Yeah.
Keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah, me too. I felt.
In honor of your service, this certificate is presented with thanks to Don Bowman. The Thurston County Board of Commissioners recognizes your 40 years of service with the Lacey Fire Department Number 3 and for being the longest serving paramedic in Washington State. Your commitment and dedication to serving the community and helping nearly 15,000 individuals in your career has made a positive difference in our community. Presented this 19th day of June 2018, signed by your County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Anybody wants to come up and get a photo with him?
Come on, Frank.
Come on, Frank. You got to get up here.
40 years.
Chief,
Oh my
even
gosh, that's beautiful,
volunteers.
man. That's
Thank you.
beautiful.
I was going to say, some of the patients we've seen more than once. I don't know if they're still counting.
Quite a
You
few
get
of
to
them
hold
more
this a
than
step
once.
forward just a bit. There you
Quite
go.
a few of them more
All
than
right.
once.
How about if I just stand over here?
I'll hide behind Bud.
Hey, wait, we didn't get Kurt yet. Come on, hey, come on.
Well, I told everybody to get up. And Chief,
Come on, Chief.
Greg, come on, Greg. We're not going to do it
Get up
without
here.
Come on, hold it, hold it, hold
Hang
it.
on,
Wait a minute.
Brian.
We're all in this game to get, we're all in this together.
Put, there we go. Now we're good. You bet. Thank you so much, Don. All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You
very
bet.
much.
Thank you.
God bless you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Frank,
Thanks a
you
lot.
bet.
Best of everything to
Look
you.
forward to seeing you out there on the
All right,
street
all right.
again, only as a volunteer. Yeah.
My wife hates the Fu Manchu.
Okay.
I have one about
See
this
you
far
later.
underneath. She just get rid of it.
Cigarette?
It does. It's exactly why I had one. Oh my
And
God, yes.
for those,
Yeah.
just as a quick note, there is a reception at Fire Station 31 on Fran Street at 3 o'clock this afternoon for Don Bowman. So I know this will be a fast meeting because Commissioner Blake likes to move things along. So
There you
I
go.
think we have 2 public hearings today, don't we?
Oh, and yeah. I forgot about that. All right, so the next item on the agenda is to, for the opportunity to, for the public to address the board. And so, Labanina, you want to hit the 3-minute clock? Yep. So the rules are this, that you see 3 minutes on the clock there, and it counts down to 0. You hear this kind of sound. That kind of tells you where you're at in the process of the 3 minutes. That doesn't mean if you're midstream of your thoughts or whatever, we want you to finish your thoughts, but I'll ask you nicely to kind of wrap them up and, so that we can move on to the next person. Come to the podium, speak for the record, or your name, your first and last name, and generally where you're at in the county where you live. And so do it first come, first serve, those who signed in. And if there's anybody that I might have missed or has a change of heart, would like to come to the podium and I don't call your name, if you're not, I'll ask you just to raise your hand and I'll bring you to the podium. So the first person I have is Stacy, is it Stacy Kalkus? Yeah, come on up, Stacy. Sure, just hand it to him.
Thank
There
you.
you go. There you go. And
Okay, so my
Perfect.
name is Stacy Kalkus,
you bet. Go ahead.
and I live in the South Thurston County area. My family's a 3rd generation to be here in this area. I know I have 3 minutes. I'll try and do my best. In April, I purchased a residential critical area determination, came to the county, and that's what they suggested I do because we're trying to buy a piece of property from our friends. We're also getting ready to put our property in Thurston County up for sale as well. But before we purchase this property, we wanted to just look into it, make sure there's not going to be anything that stops us because there are wetlands involved. So we purchased that permit, and we received a letter from them telling us when they were going to do the pocket gopher study and that we might have to hire a scientist to do the wetland study. We received another letter saying, yes, you need to hire someone to do the wetland study, so we looked into that, got an estimate for another $3,000. So we found someone to do that, got them all ready to go, and then I received a letter on June 11th, like 4 days after, stating that the Fish and Wildlife is no longer doing the pocket gopher study, so therefore I have to hire someone else to do the study for pocket gophers, or I need to pay the county $1,100 more. Mind you, I've already got my permit for them to do the pocket gopher study. I paid them $431, and I have that paperwork, everything's already in motion, and then I receive another letter saying I'm gonna have to pay another $1,100 or hire someone else to do this study. They gave me, it was a very intimidating letter. I felt it was very bullyish. They almost gave me no choice and no time to act. They gave me like 14 days from the date of the letter, which was June 11th. And I was just completely stressed. I don't work for the state. I don't get paid time off. Anytime I take off from my job, it is non-paid. I phoned a friend for some moral support. I don't know what to do here. So he suggested I come here today. Coming here today, I thought I had this whole speech all out, and I received an email today also from the county saying, first of all, they put our pocket gopher study for June 28th with a prior letter. Today I receive a letter saying that they've changed it. Now they've moved it to the day after tomorrow. That's not even giving me the 14 days to comply with the previous letter. And they're telling me in here that if I don't respond to this letter, they're gonna go through with the study and bill me the $1,100. Mind you, I'm not even the property owner. I'm just someone looking to purchase this piece of property. I don't understand what's happening here, but I don't think it's right. I'm just at a loss of what to do and where to go from here. In here, they just don't give you any time to respond. And if you call to talk to them, they get back to you in like 3 or 4 days. So I feel like next week is the end of my 14 days, and I don't even have time to deal with any of this, let alone get an email today saying they've changed it to this Thursday.
Okay, great. Did you put your contact information on that paper you gave Romero?
Yeah. And what I would like to say is I think I'm already in contract with them. I've already paid for my permit. I don't think it's fair to expect me to just flow with this quick last-minute change. Mm-hmm. I think that maybe moving forward, everybody else should have to if they're going to apply for a permit. But I think that I should be able to continue with what I'm doing with them for my original permit.
You bet. Thank you so much for your words.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next person I have on the agenda, on the list is Major Peace from the Salvation Army. Yeah. How you doing, sir? Yeah, come on up.
Commissioners?
Lift the mic up just a tad. There you go.
You bet. I'll use my open-air church voice,
There
all
you
right?
go. Okay, great.
It's a
Nice to
privilege
see you
to be
again.
here with you today. Hutch has heard that before. It's a privilege for me to be here with you today. Unfortunately, this will be the last public meeting that I'm able to attend in Thurston County as I've been transferred to Denver, Colorado. Seems like I only got here yesterday. I live in Olympia, by the way, for the record. Seems like I only got here yesterday. It's been a little less than a year, and my wife and I have been privileged to serve as your Salvation Army officers here in Thurston County. And I thought I would just take a moment to share with you what we've been able to do on your behalf and with the support of the community. So this past calendar year, 2017, we provided 17,707 nights of warm and safe shelter to the residents of our county. As well, we working with the Community Kitchen, a partnership with Catholic Community Services, served over 115,000 meals. And just in the last 5 months, distributing PSE Warm Home Funds, we provided 734 families with $199,000 worth of utility assistance. We couldn't do that without the support of the county, without the support of its citizens, and without all the hard work that you do on our behalf. So I want to thank you. And part of that is the seasonal shelter contract that you work with us, and we're privileged to be a partner with you. I want to thank you very much for all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Thurston County who need a little bit extra. I'm privileged to serve.
Sure, you got
And
plenty
I'm
of
done.
time.
You know, if you have any questions of me about the Salvation Army, I got 1 minute to answer them.
Oh, well, we
I think we'll even expand that time.
yeah, well, we have a comment for you before.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you
All
finish
right.
your thoughts.
I just want to thank you for all you've done and the Salvation Army in general, because you folks actually reflect my view of how we need to treat folks. We need to treat those that need some help, but want to better their lives as well. Now, I know there's other folks out there with mental issues or you know, drug issues, whatever it is, but it does my heart good to watch how you treat people and help them to better their lives and get them out of the situation that they're currently in. And I use the Salvation Army as my prime example when talking about helping others all the time. So thank you very much for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that.
I would just say the same thing. Thank you very much for all you do for our community and for those that are much less fortunate than we are and the disadvantaged. And holding, not holding, offering some accountability piece to them as well to give them value and self-worth. Appreciate that. And I loved working with you last fall, you and your wife.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Yeah, sure, and same here. You and your wife are absolutely wonderful, and the time that I've spent with you and the short time that I've spent with you, I think you are a very remarkable person, not only in terms of the Salvation Army. I've seen a lot of benevolence and care and goodwill that always will precede your reputation. You are a true asset to this community. I wish you well as far as your endeavors to Colorado and wherever it takes you, but I will miss you greatly as far as being at the table and representing this community. You've been super phenomenal, and we wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Well, what
I
about your
appreciate time.
replacement? Do you have a replacement
You wanna
yet?
do
I do have a replacement.
Okay, next.
Who just happens to be in the room. It's a very
right.
odd situation. Normally does not happen in the Salvation Army. Usually the one guy leaves and the other guy shows up a couple days later and never do the two meet. But with me today, I introduce Captain Mark Stearns.
Sure.
He and
Come on
his
up,
wife
Come on up,
Dora
Captain.
and their son Adam will be moving to Thurston County a week next Monday, and they'll be taking over and carrying on the tradition that the Salvation Army has done in our community since 1889.
You
So,
bet. Come on
Captain,
up to the
Good
podium,
grief.
sir. We have you on the list to speak, so we want to hear your 3 minutes.
Well, good afternoon, Commissioners. It's an honor to be here in front of you this afternoon. And my name is Captain Mark Stearns with the Salvation Army. I am currently in Everett, Washington, but as of next Monday, I will be a resident of Thurston County.
Yay.
And I say that with an immense amount of pride because I am a native Washingtonian. I was born here a long time ago. I was born at Northgate Mall way back when. My son was born in Washington. My wife's family immigrated to Washington over 30 years ago, so we are all Washingtonians, and we finally get to serve in the state that we call home. And to serve in the state capitol is just beyond a dream come true. And we are looking forward to just taking the baton that is being passed to us, and I can tell you right now, it is a baton about the size of a sewer pipe, because these people have done a great job in this county in the less than year that they have been here, and I am proud to be able to follow these people, the Major's piece in what they have done here. And we're just going to pick up that baton and continue with it.
There you go.
My wife, my son, and I all hope to be here for at least 5 years and just run with it and continue to benefit the people of Thurston County through the Salvation Army.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's absolutely great. Any questions or comment? No?
Thank you very much. I look forward to working with you, and thank both of you for your dedicated service to those folks that need some help. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Yes, sir.
So you're leaving the convergence zone
Yes.
and coming to the capital county. So welcome. And I trust you've already met with OPD yet, the Olympia Police, or not yet?
Not yet.
You'll be working closely with them, I know. And you're following in very good footsteps set by the mayor, or the major, rather. Thank you. Or mayor. Your Excellency, okay. Thank you, Captain. Welcome.
Thank
bet.
you.
Second all that. Look forward to working with you in many endeavors we have laid ahead of us. So, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
bet.
Commissioners.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next person on the list is Lee Rivera.
Thank you very much to the Salvation Army for coming in here today. We appreciate the opportunity to make these comments, especially dealing with the homeless issues here in Thurston County. Of course, many of us also attended the budget hearing last week, and then we're going to have another budget hearing for Thurston County. These men before us, these 3 Thurston County commissioners, they talk about helping the homeless, but you notice that Hutchins just said, well, you're going to be working closely with the police department. So these 3 men look closely with homeless and then the police. And of course, earlier today, about an hour or so ago, these 3 men were talking about hiring 14 more officers, criminal justice, to work in the jails. The recommendation of staff was only hiring 7 more. These men want 14 more, and that's one of the reasons we're having a budget issue here in Thurston County. These men want to put all the money into criminal justice, into their friends' pockets, because all these 3 men are from criminal justice backgrounds. And so these are the 3 men that not too long ago gave themselves salary raises. Each one of them gave themselves a $10,000 a year salary raise. So I think they're up, each of them is up to what, $130,000 a year? But yet they go and dribble on and on how they're saving the county money. They really want to talk about saving the county money, yet they gave themselves a $10,000 a year raise. So Bud Blake is up for re-election this year, as you know. Yes. Okay. Well, anyway, that's why I look to see their actions, not their words. They just love the homeless, but the first thing is out of their mouth is bring the police in. And that is the attitude these 3 men have before us. And so now we're told we're not allowed to talk about elections during the public comment. Another issue I wanted to talk about is the habitat conservation plan. These 3 men have not passed any habitat conservation plan. If they did, the planning for the gopher issue would go through smoothly. They haven't even started on the plan. They haven't even applied to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Yet they say in their public comments, Bud Blake said it's 99% done, the habitat conservation. Hasn't even started. So the citizens who are having trouble should go to Bud Blake and say, what are you saying the habitat conservation plan is 99% done? You haven't even applied for it as a county. Thank you.
Thank you for your words, ma'am. Next on the list is Christy White.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Christy White, and I live in the Delphi Valley. I wanted to address you this afternoon because, quite frankly, I was very dismayed about this morning's session regarding the 1,000-foot buffers. I'd like to remind the Commissioners that not only are we interested in economic development for the county, but there is also an equal responsibility to protect the environment of this area, and it is amazing what we have here. You know, the mining industry got a tremendous win with the designation, moving to over 140,000 acres. I think we need to step back, slow it down. Those buffers have been immensely effective over time. And if we're going to, again, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on studies for other issues regarding the county, why are we not looking at that kind of expenditure if we're going to change these buffers? I am recommending that the commission take the initial planning commission option 1, at the very least option 2. We've already gone through citizens involved in this process, making comment, immense amount of staff time, and now we're looking at perhaps eliminating those buffers altogether. Frankly, I don't think that's wise. I'm also concerned about the ethicalness of an attorney letter being provided and spending resources of the county addressing a legal opinion that has basically been given free and is not addressed to the county as an issue. I have concern. I've dealt with attorneys all my life. It's called client-attorney privilege. And I think we need to take a good hard look at that as we look at this entire issue and address it fairly and openly. We just cannot afford to not go with option 1 or option 2 and to just wipe those buffers out when such a remarkable gift has been given to the mining companies already with this swath of pink in the entire county. So I am concerned about that. Please, you know, take a good hard look. You know, 100,000 people are going to be additional folks here by 2040. We have got to have a balance. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your words today. Okay, so that completes my list I have you up here. Is there, by show of hands, anybody like to come to the podium to say any words to the board? Seeing none, we'll move on. The next item we have on the agenda is the county manager's update, and I'll turn to Ramiro Chavez to see what he has to say.
Thank you, Commissioners. I have a couple of items for you. Let me take you back to the week that just passed and maybe do some highlights as to some of the briefings that you heard and some of the decisions that you have made so far.
Yep. Sorry. So let me start from the beginning. Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity. I have a couple of items for you today. Let me take you back to the week before and highlight some of the decisions and the briefings that you have made. On Wednesday, June 13th at 2 in the afternoon, you heard a proposed fee increase for the Lake Lawrence and the Lake Management Districts. That briefing included a proposal from staff to increase those rates by 3% in 2019 and 3% in 2020. You provided direction this morning to go ahead in the staff and take the next steps, which include a public hearing and eventually including those fees in the budget, where you will be considering approving increasing those fees as part of the overall approval budget of the 2019-2020. You also, on Wednesday, June 13, you had a briefing on the First Look. And the First Look is a program between the prosecuting attorneys, the Office of Public Defense, and the courts as to how they can capture some of those cases that are coming in and have a resolution before they go into the jail system. And that has proven to be an effective tool to meet the objective of the reducing jail population. Also, on Thursday, June 14 at 10 in the morning, you, on your head of the Board of Health, held a special meeting where you passed two key resolutions. One, declaring the opioid public health crisis, and the other one, homelessness, as a public health crisis as well. With that, I'd like to probably give you a follow-up on the ordinance 15308. This ordinance was passed in June 27, 2016 by the Board of County Commissioners, which implements an emergency ban on discharge of consumer fireworks. And let me read what that states. The county manager, after consulting with the fire marshal and other officials as may be deemed appropriate, may prohibit the discharge of consumer fireworks during the periods of extreme fire danger. The prohibition shall be in effect 1 day prior to the date in which the consumer fireworks are legally sold under the Chapter 7D.77 RCW. This particular RCW allows for the legal sale of fireworks between June 28th through July 4th. So based on this statute, the decision to ban the discharge fireworks based on the extreme weather conditions needs to be done by June 27th. Looking at the weather forecast in the upcoming week, we're going to have a couple of days of mid-80s. Tomorrow is going to be close to 86 degrees, and then we'll drop down the temperatures to between 68 to low 70s as well, with humidity of between 40 and 70%. With that in mind, I don't perceive that we need to exercise this particular ordinance, but I will keep you posted next week, which that will be the last day in which we can make a decision. That's all I have for you.
Romero?
Yes. If we were to enact some type of a restriction on fireworks, would that apply to any of the reservations that sell fireworks?
No, the resolution only states the banning the discharge, does not ban the sale of fireworks.
Okay, so
There's a big
would
difference.
our local Lions Club and such, would they still be able to sell? They just,
Yeah.
people could not discharge them
Yeah,
at that
and
point in time?
that is the ordinance that we have in place. It's just the discharge of fireworks, not the sales
Great,
of fireworks.
thank you.
Nope.
Okay, great. So let's move on to item number 3, which is consent items. We have consent items A through E. Is there a motion to approve A through E?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent items A through E.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve consent items A through E. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. So we'll move on to item number 4, which is departmental items. And item number 4 consists of Public Works, which is a resolution to apply for a grant from the Brian Abbott Fish Barrier Removal Board. And with this, we have Jeannie Kinney, Environmental Coordinator, to tell us a little bit about it. Hi, Jeannie.
Push it down. Yes, I'm Jeannie Kinney. I'm the Environmental Coordinator for Public Works. And I'm here today with a resolution for permission to apply for the grant with the Brian Abbott Fish Barrier Removal Board to replace 4 fish barrier culverts on Spurgeon Creek. And we estimate that the total cost would be about $2 million. A lot of the preliminary work has already been done using the Fish Passage and Enhancement Program funds, and we thank you for that. We are also hoping to use future funds from the Fish Passage Enhancement Program for the match money for this. Is a 15% match is required of that. The application is due June 28th, so it's coming up pretty quick. And part of the requirement from RCO, which is the Recreation and Conservation Office that administers these grants, is that there has to be a resolution from the governing body of whatever the entity is. And so that's why I'm here.
Questions of Jeannie?
Jeannie, would this just enhance what we're already doing on our fish barrier replacements?
Yes, well, it would leverage those funds. We would use the $300,000 as match money towards this $2 million grant. And so we would end up with removal of 4 fish barrier culverts replacement. We anticipate at this point the preferred alternative is for 2 bridges, one on the Chehalis Western Trail and one on Latigo Street. And so basically we're replacing 4 culverts for a total of roughly $2 million, which I know it seems like a whole lot of money, but it's actually a pretty economical way to go.
And this is above and beyond, maybe the county manager would know this. Is this above and beyond aren't we doing 5 other culverts this year as well?
This year, yes. No, I'm applying for the grant. And so we actually won't find out if we get the grant until the end of this year, and the money would not
be used for next year's.
Yes, that's
So maybe
correct,
next year, if we continue the program, we might be able to get 10 culverts done if we're lucky, with what we're going to do with REIT funds and maybe what you're going to do.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
that's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Double the money, huh?
Double the money.
All right. Any questions?
Any other
comments?
question?
Let me see, the next one's on Fish Passage, also enhancement, but you're not doing that, although, are you, Jeannie?
That's Brian.
All right, no, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the resolution to apply for a $2 million grant from the Brian Abbott Fish Barrier Removal Board, administered through the State Recreation and Conservation Office, RCO, to replace 4 fish barrier culverts on the Chehalis Western Trail and Latigo Street Southeast at the Spurgeon Creek crossing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and your motion carries, Jeannie. So next item is 4B, which is the contract award for the Fish Passage Enhancement at Hunter Point Road Culvert Replacement Project. And we have Mr. Brian Meyer to give us a little bit of background on that.
Okay, good afternoon. I am Brian Meyer, engineer with Thurston County Public Works. Like you mentioned, I'm here to ask for the contract award of the Fish Passage Enhancement Hunter Point Road Culvert Replacement Project. On June 7th, 2018, we had a total of 5 bids were opened for a Hunter Point Road culvert replacement project. These bids were received in response for a call for sealed bids. The low responsive bidder was Brumfield Construction of West Point, Washington, in the amount of $931,584.86. This project will replace the existing 2 culverts under the Hunter Point Road, which is currently a complete fish passage barrier. It's going to be replaced with an 80-foot long bridge. The associated work will include limited in-stream work, guardrail replacement, and road reconstruction. Replacing these barrier culverts will reopen approximately 0.9 miles of habitat to fish, which have been inaccessible for decades. This project is, we've been working with the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Squaxin Tribe, and they're all in support of this. This project is currently in the 2018 Public Works budget and has been funded through the REAP 2 that you guys have authorized us to move forward with. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute a contract with Brumfield Construction to complete this contract work. Are there any questions?
Covered everything.
Yeah, you've seen this multiple times now.
Yeah, yep. Very good.
Yeah, and I can only hope that the Data Olympian will eventually pick up all the fish passage enhancements and fish barrier removals that the Board of County Commissioners have done this year and next. I can only hope. No, I have no other question. I have no question, just a comment. I'm done.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
Yes. I move to approve to award the contract for construction of the fish passage enhancement Hunter Point Road Culvert Replacement Project, number 63001, to Brumfield Construction of Westport, Washington, for a total amount of $931,584.86, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 20% of the contract, $186,315, or an aggregate amount of $1,117,900.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and your motion carries, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item number 5 is public defense, and it covers the juvenile client services contract in Thurston County Juvenile Court. We have Mr. Patrick O'Connor, who is the public defense director. Hi, Patrick.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Blake. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Hi, Patrick.
I am moving the board to approve and authorize the Director of Thurston County Public Defense, which is me, to execute a contract with Washington State Office of Public Defense to provide representation to indigent parents in our community facing dependency and termination proceedings in family court. We provide that representation. This contract essentially has an effective date of July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019. Our current contract to provide this representation expires June 30th. We have one attorney in our office that provides this representation throughout all the proceedings and dependency and termination hearings. The compensation proposed in the contract includes that attorney's salaries and benefits, as well as some administrative costs that are included in the proposal. This contract that's before you presents a slight increase in revenues through the State Office of Public Defense for the remainder of 2018 and through the proposed first 6 months of 2019. So I'd ask the court, the board, I keep doing that, sometime I won't do that, the board to take a motion and approve it.
Okay, any comments or questions of Patrick?
No, very good. This is an ongoing activity that we've been providing this service, and we get money, pass-through money from the state.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. How about you, sir?
Nope, I just love the work you're doing and keeping things moving over there. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Second. Okay, is there a motion for this?
Yes, I move to approve and authorize the Director of Thurston County Public Defense with the Washington State Office of Public Defense to execute a juvenile client services contract in the amount of $134,628.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries, Patrick.
Thank you,
You
Commissioners.
bet. Thank you so much. Item number 6 on the agenda is Public Health and Social Services, and this is the approval of Amendment Number 2, the Washington State Department of Health 2018-2020 Consolidated Contract. We have Director of Public Health and Social Services, Shelley Slaughter, to give us some background. Hello, Shelley.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here to request your approval of Amendment Number 2 of the State of Washington Department of Health Consolidated Contract to increase this contract by $268,092 for a revised maximum consideration not to exceed $966,956 for the time period of January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2020. Just to give you a little bit of the background, the Washington State Department of Health Consolidated Contract is the mechanism used to transmit federal and state dollars from the Department of Health to the county for public health services. And this amendment includes statements of work for the Childhood-Led Poisoning Program, our Maternal Child Health Block Grant, the National Estuary Program, the SSI On-Site Sewage Management Program, the Office of Emergency Preparedness and Response, our Tobacco Vapor Prevention and Control Program, and Infectious Disease Prevention Program. And I'm asking for your approval for myself, the Director of Public Health and Social Services, to sign this amendment and any future amendments not to exceed 15%.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve Amendment Number 2 to the State of Washington Department of Health 2018-2020 Consolidated Contract number CLH 18264, increasing the contract by $268,092 for a revised maximum consideration not to exceed $966,956 for the duration of January 1, 2018 through December 31, 2020, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the amendment and any future amendments that do not revise the approved dollar amount or duration of the contract by more than 15%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and so your motion carries. Thank you very much, Shelley.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next item is number 7, which is the Commissioner and County Manager's item, and we have Carrie Hennon here from the Program Manager for our treatment sales tax to talk a little bit about the amend interlocal agreement with Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization for treatment sales tax funds. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, thank you. Greetings, Commissioners. Treatment sales tax is a 1/10% sales tax collected countywide. It generates over $5 million in revenue that is used to fund mental health and substance use services. A good portion of that funding, we provide services through an interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization, and what I have before you today is an amendment to our existing agreement with the Behavioral Health Organization. The amendment would increase that agreement by about $57,000 to a total of $1,784,988. That additional funding would go to 2 different programs. One, a program that provides housing and rental assistance for individuals with behavioral health issues, and the second, a program that supports a mental health therapist that works at a drop-in center for homeless youth and young adults in Olympia. You approved these changes as part of our recent discussions related to the treatment sales tax community grants, so what I'm asking for today is your permission to formalize those changes through an amendment to our interlocal agreement. Questions?
Thank you.
How about you, sir?
Oh, you're doing excellent work with the TSD.
I agree.
Appreciate that, Carrie.
Is there a motion?
Move to amend the existing interlocal agreement with Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization by by A, increasing the total funding to a total of $1,784,988 in treatment sales tax funds for the duration of January 1, 2018 through December 31, 2018, and B, adding additional performance measures for a new Steps to Wellness for Homeless Youth and Young Adults program, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the First Amendment to the interlocal agreement and future amendments that do not exceed change in this approved dollar amount by more than 15%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and so your motion carries. Carrie.
Thank you.
All righty. 7B on the agenda is the on-call consultant services for courthouse and civic center planning phase, including comprehensive comparative feasibility study of 3 property sites. I have Mr. Rick Thomas here to give us a little bit of background. And
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Rick Thomas. I'm the Special Projects Coordinator for the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners is requesting authorization to issue an RFQ to retain a highly qualified consulting firm to provide on-call professional consulting services to support the planning of the courthouse and civic center project. After issuance of the RFQ, a county selection panel will review proposals received and return to the Board of County Commissioners to request authorization to enter into a contract with the selected firm. Work will be defined on a task basis for each scope of work needed. The contract is proposed to be for an initial period of 2 years with an option to extend up to an additional 2 years for a total of 4 years maximum. The initial task order will be to provide a comprehensive comparative feasibility study of 3 property sites: the existing county hilltop area, the Olympia Old City Hall on Plum Street, and the third is the Harrison West at Harrison Avenue and Kaiser Road. This request supports the Thurston County Strategic Plan external goals of environment and sustainable resources to preserve and enhance our physical environment and natural resources. It also addresses the economic vitality and opportunity to promote and advance sustainable economic vitality and opportunity for all of our citizens. And thirdly, the public safety and judicial services to help keep people safe in their homes and communities. We're asking for your approval to proceed with the RFQ.
Any comments or questions?
No. Nope.
Questions? All right, is there a motion?
I move to authorize the issuance of a request for qualifications for an on-call professional consulting services to support the planning of the courthouse and civic center project.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you very much.
Next, we're at 7C, which is where commissioners can report out on any kind of work sessions or assignments or committees, or just anything in general they'd like to talk about as far as updates or what have you. Turn to Commissioner Edwards and see if he has anything.
Well, no, I tell you, there is one thing I would just like to mention to the viewing public is that we offer the public a 3-minute time period to come forward and express their concerns and views. And I just want to let you know that it's not a time for debate or discussion. It's strictly about free speech and allowing people to express their views. It has nothing to do with, we don't argue whether it's true or whether the facts match. It's just an opportunity for citizens to step forward and express their point of view. So I just want to get that point out. I get asked often, how come you don't say anything when you might disagree? And I have to always respond that it's not my time for that type of interaction. So just want to pass that information.
Okay, great. Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing that, because I also get asked, is that true? And I say, no, it's not true. Well, why don't you confront that? But that's not the time for that type of public discourse. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards, for that. Last week, I joined my brethren here for the groundbreaking celebration of the Lacey Food Bank out at the 7000 block of East Martin Way. And that's a project underway, and it's going to be a beautiful asset to East Thurston County. And Robert Coit does a beautiful job with the food bank. And there were numerous people in attendance. I participated in the Transportation Policy Board, where we discussed various and numerous transportation projects that will be taking place throughout the county for road enhancement. And let me see, that was, okay, I typically do the Orca and the lot, that's fine. But yesterday, several of us from the Commissioner's Office attended a tour of Alafia, and it was considered an economic development tour of this wonderful organization or company, if you will, that is out of Togo, Africa, and does a beautiful job with empowerment of women and fair trade, exemplary fair trade. And they're doing a great job, and it's a wonderful example of how commerce, I believe, should be when it comes to being altruistic. And then last night, there was an executive seminar at the Emergency Management Center on Tilley Road, where Commissioner Blake talked about the hazardous weather task force and all the things that are involved in that. He did a great explanation. There was about maybe 40 or so, maybe plus people throughout the county, electeds and other service providers throughout the county that were at this emergency management seminar, executive seminar, and it was well put together. Very good information put out, and that's it.
Yeah, I'll just add 2 items to that. Yesterday, Commissioner Edwards and I sit on the Thurston Thrives Coordinating Council, and that's a component of the Thurston Thrives initiative here and so we were absolutely flabbergasted by some of the events that are going on in terms of the goodness of the community schools program, where the organization Together, Megan Goldberger and Megan Morrow, Yum School District and Tumwater School District have joined in partnership to help out at the school level, kids, naming kids, and not only for the educational pieces, but a lot of the other health concerns that go on as far as immunization, eyeglasses, mental health. There's a really good program that we have under Thurston Thrives and partnering with the school districts, and I invite any school district to step up and play a role in that also where it's possible. But it just shows how much we care and across the board, no matter who you are, where you're at, or how our kids are the next generation, and they need to prosper and thrive in all kinds of ways, and it's just phenomenally good that Thurston Thrives is doing that. The other item is we did have a Board of Health, a special Board of Health on 14 June, and just a reminder, we passed 2 resolutions there. One was the crisis on the opioid issues that here in Thurston County, and in the larger part in Northwest, Pacific Northwest, where Thurston County as a whole take a legal and operational stance on this, kind of let people know that we do take this serious in terms of a health issue, and that we are moving forward with new task force, opioid task force here in Thurston County. There's a lot of great things going to come out of it here in the near future, but that's where we took that. The other one was a resolution on homelessness, and it is packed with a lot of good information, mostly synergizing a lot of what we have and put into a focal point that we can being deliverables of not only shelter and permanent supportive housing in the near future, but taking care of the homeless in terms of a health issue, whether it be needles or any kind of illnesses that are going on out there in terms of the camps and on the streets and what have you. We're really addressing it from a health standpoint. I think that's phenomenal also that Thurston County has done that and set the tone and the drum beat for that. So a lot's going on, and we're there quite often. Sometimes seems like juggling the ball or putting out another fire, but this Board of County Commissioners is well engaged. So with that in mind, I'll turn to the county manager and see what he has to say.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'd just like to follow up on the previous the public testimony you received from Mrs. Stacy Caucus in relate to one of her permits. Just happened that the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development, Josh Cummings, just met with her, and they have developed a plan as to how they're going to be helping her. And I will report on the details of the plan next week.
There you go. Okay, great.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
And so let me walk you through the upcoming schedule, your schedule for the upcoming week, where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Beginning here in a minute, you have a public hearing where you will take public testimony related to the 6th budget amendment for the 2017-2018 biennial budget. At 4:30 in the afternoon, you were also held a public hearing related to proposed changes on the speed limits on some county roadways. Wednesday, June 20th, tomorrow at 9 in the morning, you have a briefing on the final regulation of marijuana producers, processors, retailers, and marijuana overlay options. And this is, as you may recall, we are currently operating on an interim marijuana regulation, and the staff is going to provide some perspective as to how you may consider a permanent regulation related to marijuana. 9:30 in the morning, you will have a briefing on utility rate increases. That will be water and sewer utility that we have in the county. At 10 in the morning, you will have a briefing from the Veterans Assistance Program. At 12 noon, you have elected officials luncheon. This may be canceled because I have not received any as to how many attendees will be coming to your meeting, so that may or may not be canceled. 2 in the afternoon, you have a briefing on the county's strategic plan with our consultant, Burke. A consultant will give you a briefing, a little bit of a background as to how we got to the point of having a draft strategic plan. And 5:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, June 20th, you have a training, open government training, which is going to be located on the Washington Center for Performance Art, 512 Washington Street East, Olympia. Moving on to Thursday, June 21st, you have a tour, a tour in the afternoon related to the Salvation Army Hans K. Lemke Emergency Lodge. And next, moving on to Monday, June 25th at 3:30 in the afternoon, you have an exit interview related to the state auditor's first review of the audit for 2017. That's all I have for you.
Any comments, questions? No? All right, we're going to have a public hearing in just a second, but if nothing else further, we'll ask if there's a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the Board of County Commissioners meeting of June 19, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and we are adjourned.